Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. So happy to have some time with you today on this Wednesday. As you know, June is Pride Month here in New Jersey and across the country. And this is a time when, although the YWCA of Northern New Jersey celebrates everyone every day, but we definitely, during these months that kind of honor and provide focus, we do the same. But for today, we have a wonderful conversation for you to dedicate this show today specifically about LGBTQ plus resources and supports. And, you know, this is really about creating community and how we can come together. And no better people to come together with than these two. They both have a very special place in my heart, and I'm so happy to share this space with them today. And so I would like to welcome both of my guests here today, Anthony Torres and Jeremy Lentz, to YWTV.
Thank you, Helen. It's great to be here. Great to be back. Good to see both of your smiling faces this morning.
Well,
thank you.
I'm so happy to have you. And for our viewers, let me tell you a little bit about both of these wonderful human beings. Let's start with Jeremy. You've seen him on YWTV over the last year and a half a few times because of his role as executive director of the Teaneck International Film Festival. And he is a community, he's a community health worker for New Jersey Buddies, Bergen County, and I'm sorry, in his role in Teaneck International Film Festival, he is the director of the Teaneck International Film Festival, and under his leadership, TIFF has been committed to the theme of activism and making change. It's considered to be one of the most prominent social justice film festivals in the nation. We at the YWCA are a proud supporter of the Teaneck International Film Festival. Jeremy himself has been honored over the years many times. One of the most recent ones are with U.S. Congressman Josh Gottheimer has acknowledged his work as a hometown hero. He was named Teaneck Man of the Year, thanks to the Teaneck Chamber of Commerce. And he also is the recipient of a Racial Justice Award from the YWCA of Northern New Jersey because of his commitment to promoting racial equity and social justice. Has really been unyielding. And, you know, recently, for those of you that might know, he did an amazing job being the speaker for the Dumont Pride flag raising event. And you were wonderful. I got a chance to watch.
Thank you.
Hear your inspiring words as always. And the other box is one of my other really someone also that I have tremendous adoration for, Anthony Torres. He holds 2 bachelor degrees in psychology, one from Ramapo College and one from London's Metropolitan UK. He earned a master's degree in public administration and interned with the United Nations through the Unitarian Universalist Association office. And he received most of his trauma-related experience working at Maudsley Hospital, London's largest mental health training institute. He's also part of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey family. We were so blessed to have him working in our Healing Space program for a period of time in our prevention, doing prevention work. And now he works with New Jersey Buddies, Bergen County in the HIV Resource Center as a community health worker. And he's also very focused right now on opening Bergen County's first LGBTQ plus center, a project that he is lovingly working alongside with his husband, Nick O'Neill. And so we're going to hear about all of these things, in our talk today. But, let me start by asking both of you, what does Pride Month mean to you? I know that it's so much that gets packed into, these 30 days in June. But what does that mean to you?
Well, for me personally, it's an affirmation. It's an affirmation to be able to live in your truth, to live openly, to live honestly, to know your sense of self, and to be able to live and love freely without shame or stigma. It's also a celebration of where we've come and how much work we still need to do. In the US, the gay liberation movement really started with Stonewall, as we know. So this is the 52nd anniversary, and we celebrate that each June. And we really look towards, the work that still needs to be done. While we've made a lot of progress in this country, particularly in the last 10 years or so, there's still so much work out there for our community, which faces discrimination every day, and especially with all these laws that are taking place throughout states in the US with regard to anti-trans laws, states wanting to potentially rescind marriage equality in certain situations. There's so much work to raise visibility, not only here, but also abroad, where there's so many countries where being gay is still a crime and punishable by death. So, the work never ends. Yes, we need to celebrate how far we've come, and we need to have pride about that, but it's also ensuring that it gets easier for future generations.
Well put, Jeremy. Well put, Jeremy. Anthony, what about you?
Well, for me, it's certainly everything that Jerry mentioned, all the more of the big scale things, but it's also for me is looking at the individual people in my life. We have in my immediate circles, I've lost about 3 people because of lack of services, and in Bergen County. And to me, pride is those people that live really hard lives. And I'm sure when, anyone that knows someone that's LGBT that is not really passing as, it's very obvious that they're LGBT, and yet they deal with the bullying and the microaggressions, and they deal with, all this like overt homophobia, and yet they're still able to show up, smile, and be themselves, try to connect with their truth, and just be a good person, which was a lot of the people that I've lost, and to still function in the world and still just be a regular person. That to me is what pride is. I think about these people and people in my life that are struggling. That that's where I take it.
So when you think of like those of us who want to be allies to the LGBTQ plus community, how can we stand up for you? What is it that you want to see from us over this month and over the entire year, every day, to be able to feel supported?
I know for me, it's with community leaders, with straight allies, it's really, talking the talk, but walking the walk. There are many out there that talk about being inclusive and wanting to be open and accepting. And when things happen in our local communities and we really need to work together or work as an LGBT community where we count on our allies, in many cases, they're absent and they're not present, especially when we have our pride flag raisings. It should be something that all of our elected officials should be there and want to be there, not just some. I think it's really about ensuring that safe spaces are being created, that there's an open dialogue with the community, and that people are showing up. Because again, it's not just, like any movement, any civil rights movement, it's not about just one group. We're all in it together. And I think that if we're going to affect change, we need our straight allies there to be voices for us and to help make the change, because we are a minority group and it really takes a village.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anthony, anything?
Yeah. Yeah, I would like, I think it's also on more of a personal note is to remember that we're people, and to look past and see the person there and not see that they're LGBT, because like I talk to a lot of people and they're saying, the alphabet, the LGBT alphabet. This is so confusing. And they get so caught up in those kind of moments. And it's like, well, take it, instead of like trying to be perfect and understand all those nuances, just see the person behind that you're talking to and let them, disclose who they are. And, remember the person talking to you. Is my camera okay? Because it keeps, glitching.
You look great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So I hear what you're saying is that look for the humanity and that human connection between people. And at the same time, is we need to show up at all times, not just once a month, but definitely that month, but all the time, whenever, and stand together. And I appreciate you both sharing that because, I like to think that there are people out there that want to do better, but don't always know how. So I love the opportunity of YWTV being a place and a space where we can share something actionable and, help people make decisions, that support humanity. Exactly what you said there, Anthony. So, Anthony, you talked about losing, people because they didn't have the resources and the supports needed. Can you speak a little bit about, what was missing and, that'll help us, I know transition into what you're working on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like, I think there's a lack of an understanding and a thought towards the LGBT population. So for instance, we have an epidemic with drugs happening in New Jersey, and it's focused on opioid. But there's also an LGBT community. We have a whole epidemic with crystal meth, and with our people, and so when I'm working with them, I'm trying to get people into therapy, into addictions, and that's you're trying to be in a place where you need to have like your recovery, and you need to be your authentic self. Well, that means people have to accept who you are, and you need to be able to talk about being gay and your experiences. And there's no spaces that is that's there for that. People take the view of that's not really important. We provide, we have addiction services. It's not really important, your personal stuff, and that's where it falls through the gaps, or you can look at people that, we have men who are being in situations because they're gay, that they're having domestic abuse or homelessness. We don't have any places for them to go to, any places, any shelters. There's, there's a real lack of services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know, and I know, this from the time that you were with our organization, obviously, that we do this work, but, obviously the rise in numbers of sexual violence, especially in the transgender community, is, off the charts and increasing. So, we know that there is a growing need for safe places and spaces, So, Jeremy, how did you get involved in Anthony's project, which I know we're going to lunch and, jump into talking about? How did you get, pulled in to be part of the project?
Yeah, well, Anthony had reached out to me and, was doing a video on kind of interviewing people in the community about the needs for an LGBTQ plus community center. And really in having that conversation with him and kind of going through our shared experiences as Bergen County residents, it was eye-opening because we really realized that a county that's as wealthy as Bergen County, that's as populated as Bergen County, is so deficient in resources to assist our community. And, there are lots of simple things that could be done to help make our quality of life better and to support our community. And there's no reason why Bergen County shouldn't be able to provide these services to our residents. And, as more and more, I think LGBTQ families are here, raising children, more singles. There's such an important need for things. I mean, I know for me personally, when I moved to New Jersey and was looking for new doctors, I wanted to find a doctor that was either gay or specialized in the gay community. And, calling the health insurance company, they don't really give you any information. And then it's asking word of mouth. And most of these doctors are in the city. But if there were consolidated resources where we knew that there are places to go, even friends of mine, they're LGBT parents. They recently moved to Bergen County. They wanted to know, who's a LGBTQ friendly pediatrician. These are important things, I think, as far as health and safety that affect us on a day-to-day life. And there should be organized services to assist people with that. And there's so many different things, as Anthony has talked about, from, health services to homelessness, to addiction, to recovery, to domestic violence. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, there's an absolute need for something like this, and it would enhance the lives of our community, and I think certainly enrich all of us.
Well, what you're describing makes absolute sense. I mean, the whole continuum of needs, everything from, such, really, the needs of, from looking for medical professional all the way to, providers and supports for drug addiction and, other types of important care. I mean, it's all, it makes absolute sense that there needs to be a place in a community, to go to and feel like you're home, that people understand, and that there's something, specific to be able to be responsive. Anthony, is there a program that's a model for you? So when you think about what this center will look like someday, your dream, your vision for it, what you're working towards, to help our viewers kind of get a sense of it, because obviously our goal here today is to get the word out about what you're doing. And for those of you watching, we'll be adding some links for you so that you can stay connected to Anthony and Jeremy and feed your support, because they need your talent, they need your dollars, they need you to, they need us, all of us, to rally together and, be supportive here. But what's your vision? Help paint the picture for us so that we can, get everyone excited.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what I envision and what I think is needed, because like Jeremy said, there's lots of people doing the work out there in New Jersey and Bergen County with we need to work together. And so what I envision is a community center, right, where we can focus on making those connections with the agencies and saying, how can we rectify these problems? If there is a lack of services, how can we help you create that? To have a space, a physical space where people can come and be just to be okay and not have to worry about being, attacked or, just having a physical space is hugely important, because we don't have one currently that's not a business, to create lots of these peer support groups and social events. But then also what I envision is working with people like the local universities and stuff to sit there and really do some studies, because there's a lack of just like everything across the board. There's no one looking at services. So if you're saying right now we can have people open up a business, say I'm LGBT friendly, there's no way to see if that's true or not, or the quality of care. We don't have any standards. So we have to create that, right? So, that it's a really big task what we're trying to do. But I think first and foremost is to have a space where people can come, feel comfortable, connect with the community, with other people, and not like, under any kind of let it go organically. Mm-hmm. But then also having someone that's going to actually look at these services. Because like what Jeremy was saying, a lot of people may interpret that as like, well, is it they just looking for a doctor that's gay because they feel comfortable? I mean, there's real consequences for people if they don't have someone that's understanding. We live in a world where people can ignore giving you services. You know, we live in a world where people think you don't deserve this, you know, and you may be comfortable right now, but there are people that have, like, I have a call this morning with a woman who's 80 years old, is terrified because her wife of 30 years has Alzheimer's and has dementia, and she doesn't know what's going to happen. She has no resources, no community. She's isolated, and she doesn't know who to talk to. And she's afraid, you know, if I go to the doctors, are they going to take her away from me? You know, because they didn't get married in the traditional sense, but we come from a generation where that wasn't available. You were married.
Yes.
You know, you did the work. That was the marriage. So there's real fear in people. So what I envision is eventually getting a brick and mortar where we can build a community and do a lot of healing to this community, because this community is sort of like in Stockholm syndrome. You know, they don't know what equality means. They don't expect it. They don't, you know, so we need to undo a lot of that damage.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's twofold. I mean, obviously there are a lot of efforts, and TIFF has really been at the forefront of kind of pushing advocacy, you know, along with other, obviously we have Garden State Equality. We have other great organizations, you know, that have focused on that macro level advocacy around policy and, you know, culture shift and culture change. But, you know, you really are talking about, you know, creating a space to talk about the daily pieces that come up that are not legislated, but that are connected to humanity and are connected to quality of life and are connected to, you know, self-esteem and empowerment and all of those pieces. We have Erin Chung watching, who's not only a board member of the YW, but she's with Planned Parenthood of Metro New Jersey and also with Women for Progress. And I know that they were out supporting Garden State Equality Walk tenfold this weekend. But she's just sharing that just to make sure everyone knows. And we just talked about this on YWTV on Share the Mic Now with Rosalind, who's the head of Planned Parenthood of Metropolitan New Jersey. But they are now providing gender affirming hormone therapy at their Patterson clinic. And so that's an example of knowing those resources that are in the community and being able to connect them. You know, I'm also thinking too, I'm happy through Facebook. I'm a member of the, for example, it was the, I believe the Ramsey LGBTQ group. And, you know, somebody posted that they were looking for a hairdresser for their trans child who, you know, wanted to get a haircut, and they wanted to make sure that the salon, you know, was a supportive, safe place for them. And somebody else wrote, it just makes me really sad that you have to post asking, you know, for this. But this is exactly what, you know, you're both, you know, sharing and we should be thinking about is that, you know, that child needs to be in a place that they're built up and supported, and not going someplace to get a service and then walking out of there having, you know, further psychological trauma, you know, because of the experience with a professional who is not necessarily educated or understands.
Yeah, one would think that these are basic things, and in an ideal world, we wouldn't have to ask those things. But it's not an ideal world, and people don't understand. And when you're dealing with children, you know, and gender identity, you have to ensure that they're being protected.
Yeah.
I think also, you know, just on local levels, we see all of these towns now really affirming pride flag raising. It was something 2 years ago in Teaneck. We had to fight really hard to get done. And, you know, there's still a lot that needs to be done in terms of visibility and supporting it. But, you know, there's still towns in our community that are refusing to raise flags. Yeah. And you talk about simple things like that. But, you know, in my conversation with Anthony, I said, look, we just organized ad hoc community members around a cause because we wanted to get it done. But having a community center when they're towns or there's leadership in towns, whether it's town councils or mayor or county executives or whomever, where there's pushback about stuff like that, by having the resources where there's a unified, cohesive unit where people can go to find out, okay, there can be pressure that's put on local municipalities. There's more organization, there's more support through other towns, and also in knowing, look, these are what these towns went through. These are the conduits that they had to go through to ensure that these things got done, or various contacts. Having that kind of network is really, I think, critical. And I think, the more that we're able to do in terms of organizing and finding, a unified space where we can go, I think that'll help in terms of putting more pressure on towns and having a bigger voice than just within our own silos, having a unified county voice where people can really come together and have a way of meeting other people and understanding what's going on. Because as you know, Helen and Anthony, Bergen County is very different town to town.
Yeah.
There's a lot of demographics that are different, and politics can be very, very different, one town over. So, it's not like everyone's out there, kumbaya, gay pride, raising a flag, rainbows for everyone. That's certainly not the case in many communities. So, I think people should also be aware of that. While change is happening and happening quickly, there's still plenty of pushback.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I add to that a little bit?
Yes, please.
I mean, it's like, yeah, and we've talked about this, Jeremy, and it's like, so there is the part of where we're putting focus on that. We created a calendar or a chart showing all the towns and who's doing what, and part of it is definitely to highlight the people are doing the work, and to put, to say our disappointment to the people that are not, when there's people in the county that are looking in those towns looking for the support. But there's also a real need for this, because, and put yourself in the shoes of someone that's moving into Bergen County from New York or wherever, who is not passing, who is transgender and early in their stage. And, just look at anything, put up transgender and see the stories that you hear. It's a real scary situation. You need to know where to live. You need to know where supports are available and what is available. So on one hand, it's a real needed service to show people, okay, which towns are doing these flag raisings and has supportive agencies like the YWCA, and, where can you go to get these things? But then, which ones are definitely not?
I have to say, and, it's really, I've had the experience of speaking to an employee who is considering going through, some of the surgeries, and their concern about how it would be taken by their fellow employees and by the members, of our community that they work with, and, that conversation and that process. And, I think, again, it's the humanity of it all, is understanding that behind all of this are people, right. People with, and these are, it's a lot to process alone, let alone to have to process all the, external, internally, let alone to have to process all the external pieces. So it's really an imperative as a community that we, learn how to stand together and stand up and be supportive. And support efforts like what you're doing here, because people's lives are at stake. I say this when we talk about our racial justice work, there is an urgency to this. Yeah. And I know we know this, and this. I mean, and I'm watching Erin's writing about the Wyckoff flag raising, and Jeremy mentioned the Teaneck. We know from looking at 4 years ago to today, there's many more towns that are doing it. And that's great. But as you said, there's also there's still conversations in the towns that are not supportive, even if the flag is going up still. So there's so much more work to do. And creating a safe space is so key. So Anthony, tell us, so today, where are you at? What help do you need from the community? You have all these great supporters. We've got Beachy, we've got Dana, we've got Barb, Giarmo, and Erin, and I know many others, that are watching. You both individually have fan clubs because of the great work that you both do. And obviously, I'm a card-carrying member of both. But what is it that you need today? What can we be doing to support your effort and help make this a reality for our community?
I think first is to realize it's not my effort. It's our effort. We have, Bergen County is 1 million people, and we're talking about service, like one place to service about 50,000 people. If you believe the Gallup poll, it's 5.6% identify as LGBT. So it's never going to be my thing. It has to be like a whole bunch of people coming together, to look at how complex and how diverse the need is, servicing for everyone. So understanding that there's a need, sharing and telling people, yes, this is something that's definitely needed, because those 50,000 people, where are the services for them? Who's the one that's going to tell them? We don't have anyone sitting there saying, hey, never mind, getting your taxes or a hairdresser, which is important.
Right.
But, where are the services if you are dealing with something like safety nets issues? If you're dealing with violence, who do you go to? When, as an LGBT person, the cops typically are not a safe place. Bergen County is great, but the lived experiences, cops are not a safe alternative. How do you deal with those situations? So you need that understanding. So I think the call to the community is support us. If you have any kind of interest or any kind of skills or any kind of connections, please contact me, because it's really me and my husband doing this with a little board that we created.
So is there a Facebook group? Is there, I know, do we contact you through the, we put NJ Buddies up here, and we obviously have TIFF up here as festivals, where if people want to comment, just from the community, if you want to comment here, or if you want to email us privately on our Facebook page, we will get you connected to Anthony if you want to be an active supporter and, roll your sleeves up and help with this effort for sure. I just want to make sure that people have a pathway to you to be able to support, because I do believe, which is why, as you both know, the way that this came to be, this conversation today, is because I saw a post that Jeremy had put on Facebook and immediately jumped and said, we need to amplify, this conversation. And I believe this to be the first of many conversations about this, and look forward to continually checking in with you about how it's evolving and what you need at each, point as we move along.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Bergen County LGBTQ Alliance. Google those phrases and you'll see us. The project that I started was YWCA, I Want a Center. So you can, those are the key searches. You can find us. So we have a Facebook page. We have, Twitter, Instagram.
Okay, folks, you heard it here. Search the page. We'll put the note for you here in the comments so that you can find it. We'll link it. And please follow this effort. Follow what, how it's evolving, and think about what you have to offer, whether it's skills, whether it's dollars, time, in-kind service, and dollars are all needed. So thank you both for your tremendous service.
And thank you, Helen. I want to just shout out the amazing work that you do at the YWCA, and you are a trailblazer, and you see something and you immediately jump on it. You're really at the forefront of engaging our community, of raising awareness on so many issues, and being right there and being stalwart and supporting, and just always in the right corner, and doing the hard work and having the difficult conversations. So we appreciate you and thank you.
Well, we have a great, as you know, we have a great team, and we all stand with you on this for sure. And folks, as you know, YWTV is about spreading the word, and you're part of that. You've watched this episode. Please integrate something you've learned here today into a conversation that you had. Tell someone that you know about this effort and encourage them to get involved. Share this broadcast. It's really easy to do off Facebook. Put it onto your Facebook page, tweet it, message it to somebody that you think should watch it, send it in a text, amplify this message, because that is how you show up and stand up. And as, Jeremy said, up front, it's not just about, during the month of June. showing a rainbow flag up or putting a meme up, and it's really showing up and being there every day. And we don't always know, we may not always know exactly what to do, but just ask and then be present, from there. And to Anthony's point, this is people's lives at stake here, and creating this center and this safe place. And, we all have a piece here to do. So thank you both. Jeremy, I'd be really remiss if I didn't give you 1 minute to say what is going on with TIFF before we hang up. Hang up.
We'll be back.
What's coming
we'll
next?
We'll be back November 11th to the 21st. It'll be a hybrid festival, so we will be giving hugs in person and returning to in-person menus for a weekend, which will be the 11th to the 14th, I think. And then we're also going to continue our virtual component for a week as well. So people will have the opportunity to participate in both and pick and choose. And, we really think it's great because not only will we be able to re-engage with our audiences locally, but all those people that we've brought in from all over the country for our virtual screenings will be able to participate as well as our local residents. So, the technology and the year, the past year of COVID, I think will bring a lot of positive changes to the festival and help us to broaden our reach on topics like these and so many others that we work on with you. So just save the dates, November 11th to the 21st, and we'll have some great stuff in store for you.
We will be there, and you guys should be there too. And Anthony will make sure that people check out New Jersey Buddies as well. I know that, we are grateful that you're there and doing such great work. We miss you at the YW, but we keep you close, as we always do with everyone who leaves us. And thank you both. And for our viewers, the week is not done. Tomorrow is our Share the Mic Now. As you know, YW hands over our platform to Black women in our community to amplify their voices. And please join us. We have Andrea McChristiansen from the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. The YW is supporting an event that's happening on Saturday on the Juneteenth about reparations. And she'll be here with me tomorrow talking about that so that if it's something that you don't know about, you need to know about and learn about. And it's a great opportunity. When we're talking about standing up and being an ally, there's so many places that we need to do it. And that's another one. And on Friday, we will be sharing a program specifically focused on the Juneteenth. Shelley Washington will be sharing a program she's actually doing for our team today. The YWCA will be closed on Friday for the Juneteenth. We honor it as a holiday in our organization. And as such, today, our team at 12 o'clock, as soon as I jump off here, I'll be getting together with our whole team. And Shelley will be educating anyone who, needs to learn more. And for those of us who know, there's always more to learn about Juneteenth. So we're excited to be together with our YW family for that. And we're going to share that conversation with you on Friday. We also are connected to a series of events we have posted on our Facebook page. Thanks to Bergen and Color that did a great job pulling together the events that are happening for the Juneteenth. We shared that on our social media pages, and we encourage you to check those out as well. So much to learn, so much to do. Bring the kids out. It's supposed to be a nice weekend. Bring the family out, bring the pets out, everyone go out and celebrate and stay connected to this great effort that we talked about today. So with that, everyone have a great day. Stay healthy, stay well, and thank you both.
Thank you, Helen.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.